Hi everyone, welcome back to another interesting video from the Combatant Maggie. So this video is aimed at parents who are raising bilingual or multilingual kids in Europe, in Germany, in Italy, Spain, France. This video is for you. So if you're one of such parents, sit back and relax and I'll be right back. If you're a parent living in any of the European countries that speak anything other than English, this video is for you. So I'm just going to be sharing with you guys my tip of helping my kids to stay in touch with English being in Germany. So I don't know what your situation is like, but I just want to give you a brief background of where we're coming from and why our situation is kind of peculiar. I'm a Nigerian mom. We moved from Nigeria about 6 years ago to Germany, and I had two kids then already learning English. Already attending school and speaking English. So if you guys do not know, I and my husband do not come from the same region, and so we do not speak the same dialect. And I do not speak my native dialect as well. I'm not proud, but that is what it is. So, and my husband is always out there grinding, and I'm the one with the kids, and so they're not learning any Nigerian language. I'm also not proud about that, but I cannot help it. So we moved to Germany, and then we have to learn the German language. So once we moved to Germany, I figured that putting our kids in an international school where English is the language of instruction was going to help them. I was wrong. I was really wrong. I'm definitely doing a video about the German education system, and if you're in Germany trying to decide what's good for your child, native English speaker or not, I'll do a video to address what we have learned in our own journey. So, but for this video, we decided to put our kids in that international school. Right now, my oldest son is back into a German school, and my daughter is still in the international school just because we haven't found a spot for her in this new school. So I'm going to tell you guys my top 4 things that I do to help my kids. We are not native English speakers, but English is the official language in Nigeria, together with the 3 major languages of Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. If you don't understand any of the 3 languages, English is your best bet. And we have our own variation of English called the Pidgin English. So, but my kids speak English. So one of the things that I've tried to help them with is the fact that at home, English is what we speak. So as a parent, you have to decide on what language you want to speak at home. So if you have another dialect, if you understand your language, if you're from Nigeria and you speak Yoruba or Benin or any other language and you want to pass it across to your children, you need to decide on which of the languages you want to teach your children, because consistency is key. Deciding which one and sticking to it and making sure you're speaking it is very important. And that thing has helped us. How do I know? How have I been able to measure that? I told you guys that I had 2 kids from Nigeria before I moved here, and I gave birth to my 3rd child here in Germany. She has been to an old German kindergarten. Normally, we should have put her in the international kindergarten where her elder sister attended, but we put her in an old German kindergarten. You need to hear my daughter speak. She speaks, she switches accents as far as I know, and she speaks impeccable English. Her vocabulary is on point for her age. She speaks better English than she can speak German. How and why? Because English is what we speak at home. Once I decided that I wanted to help my children with English, I made it consistent. So I also studied here in Germany and in German. So I know that it was quite conflicting because I wanted to also use my children to learn to speak the German language, but because I wanted to help them to also keep English, because take it or leave it, English is the world language and nobody wants to lose out on that. I think it's a rite of passage for my children. They need to, they should speak English. Like I'm trying to, validate my reason, but there's no need for it. Like they should speak English. So I try to help them, by sticking to speaking English with them. So, and I know that I suffered for that because after speaking English all weekend and I go back to school, like switching back to German is really hard. Until you learn a second language, then you understand what I'm saying. But maybe some people already know what I'm trying to say. So it was really hard, but I stuck to it and that helped. So another thing that I did was exposing them to English literatures. So there's so many books that your children can read that you can buy. Okay, I understand that children books are expensive, but there are other ways to go around that. Like for me in Germany, registering your children in the library is free. So I have all of my children registered, and I even take books out of the library using my children's registration. So you have no excuse. I think most of the European cities should work the same way as well. We are allowed to keep those books for about 2 weeks. So when we go, anytime we go, we take a whole lot of books. And that has also helped my children to keep up with reading. I help them to also build up, their reading. And right now, my kids love to read. My daughter reads so well and a lot. We just go to the library and we get those books in English. We also get books in German because as much as you want them to speak English, you don't want their German to suffer since that's what they learn in school with. Apart from my daughter who is still in the international school where language of instruction is English, my son really needs help with his German as well because I'm not a native German speaker, so we will fail in certain areas, but you have to balance it. So I also let him read literatures, German literatures. That's basically what I do. Books, books, books. And when your children are still young, toddlers, read to them. One thing that I noticed though about most migrant moms who are of African descent, that's the only ones I can talk about because I know of a couple of people, Americans, Italians that are my friends, but they understand German. Like they went out of their way. Some of them didn't go to formal school, but they learned German by themselves. Why did they learn German? Because they needed to help their children to get that balance from school. So I'm speaking to most of my African mothers. Go out and learn for your children. The reason why I went to German school was for my kids. I wanted them to, excel in the German language as well. You can only give what you have, what you have. If you do not have it, you cannot help them with schoolwork. So I went out to learn also to help them. First of all, decide on what language you want to speak at home and be consistent. Number 2, expose your children to English literature. Number 3, expose them to English television. Yes, television is regulated in my house as well. We only watch TV during the weekends. Take it or leave it. Yes, and for a long period of time, we didn't even have TV at home. Yeah, because for me, it was very hard to say, oh, you're not going to watch TV and all of that. So the best thing is not to have TV. I had a computer. If I needed to watch something online, I would do it. And daddy also has one. So it was just fine. And if we wanted them to watch anything, we'll give them the tablet until we finally got TV. And we still try to regulate that and we stick to it. So they know now that when they come back from school, the first thing is to get homework done, to eat, and if there are any extracurricular activities they go for. So you just bring your children into a kind of routine. When it's screen time, you make sure that they're watching educational English TV, BBC on YouTube, different programs for children like the Peppa Pig really helped my daughter a whole lot. The other very nice, I'll leave the links at the description below. I'll leave links for the different TV shows, children television programs that your children can learn English from. So watching TV will also help them, children cartoons and nursery rhymes, that will also help them as well. Language is an art. You can better it. You can speak better. You can learn it. It's just so beautiful. It's like if I don't know how to say it, like learning generally is something that you cannot do without. So if you get a chance to learn to do better, to speak better, why not embrace it and help your children? The whole, life itself is a competition and things are getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer, and you just want to arm your children with the right, form of confidence that they need to face this world. So go all out and help them. So another thing that I do, which is the fourth thing that I do, is exposing my children to native English speakers. So if you're foreigners, the chances are that you have your children in an international school, or even if you have them in the normal German or Spanish or French or whatever school that your children might be attending, you always navigate towards parents who are also expats or who just moved in for studies or whatever thing, foreigners who you guys share similar, background stories. So usually you reach out to each other because you guys are in a strange place. So you find solace in each other by, talking and all of that. Sometimes you meet, like, we have a lot of people, Americans, Britons, and because of that international school, it's usually just like people who come for jobs and are out and all of that. So you meet a lot of people who speak English. So you want to organize play dates for your children so that they get to meet and they get to talk together and, pick up words, as they go. That will really, really help your child. And I know that you guys are familiar with the fact that when your children speak English, they speak English laced with German, with French, with Spanish, with Italian. Yes, it happens to me now. I feel like I'm losing my English because I'm learning a language, but I think it's a common thing when you learn a second language or a third, whatever. You kind of, you're trying to find a balance. So it's not like you're losing, but it might take you a while to recall certain words and all of that because you're taking in new information. So I hope that explains it. I don't know, but I think it's just very common. It's nothing out of the blues. So for children, it's also like that. So consistency with the English will also help them, so that they get the right dose from school for the German, for the French, for the Italian, and then they get the right dose from home for the English. So that's the ways that I've been able to help my children keep up with being bilingual here. So these are just my tips that I use. And if you have any other tips that we can learn from, feel free to leave them at the comment section below. You know how we do it. We continue the conversation at the comment section. So I'm going to see you guys at the comment section. Thank you for staying through this video. It works if you work it. I'll see you in my next one.